everyone. I'm Samantha Powell, and we have a very special episode of AV Unplugged lined up for you. Recently, I had an opportunity to visit the Monumental Sports Network studios in Washington, D.C., the broadcast home of the Capitals, Mystics, and the Wizards. While I was there, I had an opportunity to chat with three people within the network: Friday Abernethy, Zach Leonsis, and Charlie Myers. First up, General Manager of Monumental, Friday Abernethy, joined me to discuss the network's focus on enhancing the broadcast experience through new technologies that engage fans by bringing them right into the action. And she also highlighted the importance of serving their fan base with original content. So let's check out my conversation with Friday. I'm here with Friday at Monumental Sports. Friday, thank you so much for joining me today.
Great to be here, Samantha. I'm thrilled to have you here in our studio.
Yes, and it's a gorgeous studio at that. So tell us a little bit about your role here with Monumental.
Sure, I'm the general manager of Monumental Sports Network. Basically that encompasses all things that run the network, from production to marketing to managing the P&L, etc. So it's a very broad focused job, and I have amazing experts that help us in all of those disciplines.
Wonderful. And tell us a little bit about the studio and how it really helps to connect with the audiences. And it's just it's immersive and just so fabulous. And I'm sure it really heightens the fan experience and the viewer experience. So what sets Monumental apart from other regional sports networks?
You know, we are in the enviable position in that we are fully integrated into the ownership group. So a lot of RSNs are independently owned, where they are managed, their main source of income is their media assets, where for us, we are a network, so we're a media company within a larger sports organization. So, our ownership group owns 3 teams: the NBA Wizards, the NHL Capitals, and the WNBA Mystics. They own all of the facilities, so the building, the arena, all of the other ancillary buildings they own. All of our larger partnership and ad sales group is all integrated. So as a result, it gives us much more of an integrated ability to work amongst groups to bring scale to the overall organization versus having these siloed entities.
Wonderful. And it's great that you have this facility here and are able to streamline so many things here in Washington, D.C. and in this gorgeous, gorgeous studio that we're standing in here. Tell us a little bit about it.
We're thrilled about our studio. So when the Leonsis family wanted to purchase the network and bring it in-house, they had the vision of bringing the fans closer to the teams that they love. And to do that is to really bring in an engaging studio-like environment that looks big and professional, not more on like a mom and pop scale. So that's exactly what we built here. We blew through 2 floors to make it extra long so that we have a jib ability. A jib is a camera that can move up and down and give you broader scope angles. We actually are standing in just one portion of the studio. We have 2 side-by-side studios. So since I mentioned that we have 2 fall, winter sport teams, the NHL and the NBA, it allows us to simultaneously have 2 games going on at the same time. So we have 2 studios that mirror one another. That allows us to produce 2 games simultaneously. We just close the wall. It's fully soundproof. And it just allows us to bring the fans closer. We have touch screen tablets here. So it's much more interactive than just a 2-dimensional experience for the fans.
Absolutely. And I think the fans really enjoy seeing that and feeling like they're, really a part of the broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And, video is king. And so you touched a little bit on it, but it's like, what are the experiences that this type of facility and this studio helps to emanate to those fans and viewership? And what has been some of the feedback that you've seen?
I think, when we bought the network again, it was like we were able to look at what we as sports fans would want as someone who is observing a game. And so it allowed us to think about our theme song. It allowed us to think about all of the graphics that we came up from. We had to build that all within a 12-month period. We had to come up with a new name and brand. So while we were doing that, we thought, okay, well, how do we bring the fan into an experience so they feel much closer to our on-air talent and the athletes? So we have this beautiful desk here, but it's you can actually move it. So they will have segments where our talent will be behind the desk, and there'll be several people that are surrounding it. So it's a talking experience. Then at a break, we'll move the desk so that it allows the talent to have a more active experience where they can demonstrate some of the moves that the athletes have done. So it gives a lot of X's and O's to the fan, while also bringing the entertainment value back to them.
And as you said, you have so many different teams and moving parts under that huge umbrella. Can you give us a little insight into what a typical day would look like on a game day and all the production? Like, I'm sure it's fast moving and exciting.
It is so exciting. But I think that not just going into the game day, but it's the lead up to the game day. So we have our production crew that comes in on game day, and that is just a really exciting time because there's a lot of energy, and I'll speak about that. But it's the lead up to the actual game. There's so much preparation that goes into like the marketing of the game, making sure that people know when the game is being aired and at what time. It's also putting on clips in our social to get people excited for the lead up to the game. So there's a lot of effort that brings the fan in so that they are ready and, I guess, educated about who we're playing, why this game is important to us, so that when they sit down for the pre-game show, they have all this momentum building into it. So then when it comes down to game day, we have this fantastic pre and post crew that comes in. They come in probably around 3 to 4 hours prior to the start of the show so that they can do all of the prep work. There is an incredible amount of like data analytics that go into the gameplay and the preparation. There's graphics that need to be created. They need to make sure that all of the athletes that are from the opposing team, we have all of their images and their names and their stats all ready to go. So it's not something, what's so exciting about it, as a fan, you just lean back and you enjoy the drama and everything that goes on to it. But behind the scenes, there are so many people that make it happen. Everyone is so detailed in how they handle the production. There's someone that handles the audio to make sure that it's right on pitch, because sometimes it can fluctuate. You make sure that the shading is right so that the color of the studio and the talent looks appropriate and not off kilter. You have people that are doing replays all the time, and the producer is telling them, capture that image. We want to talk about that. Here are the stats that are going to go with it. And then they tell the on-air talent so that there is this constant movement. So it's amazing how many people it takes to create this immersive experience. And from my experience, when I meet the crew and they come in, they're as passionate about the game and the athletes as the people that are watching it. And I think that's what makes it so special, is that there's so much passion that goes into every game. And there are a lot of games.
Yes. You guys have a lot, and a lot of them are happening simultaneously. And I think Monumental, you guys are doing such a fantastic job of, yes, getting that hype up and just getting everybody engaged. And I think that passion really does shine through. How many people would you say are actually a part of Monumental and putting all of these things together?
Well, if you look at all of the disciplines across the network, there's probably around 60 to 70 full-time employees. Okay. Now, during game day and with all the production, there's a lot of freelancers that come in. So during the seasons, especially during the winter and fall, when we have the Wizards and the Capitals play, our employee base can swell well over to 100, just because we have so many people coming through. I mean, on a game night, if we had 2 games going on simultaneously, we could have probably close to 40 people putting on those games.
That's so impressive. Mm-hmm. You guys make it look just so easy.
As it should be. We're here to like create content that I feel so passionately about what sports does for community. It's the one area where it's still a town hall where people gather, and it sort of puts aside any other differences that you have, because you're rooting for a team, you're rooting for an athlete, you're rooting for perhaps another athletes from an opposing team just to come and get close to them is really exciting.
So what is next for Monumental, the sports network, and the entertainment group? I know you guys there's always something on the horizon. What are you guys looking forward to next?
You know, we're just always looking ways in which we can enhance our broadcast experience. There's new technologies that are coming out that can explain the game deeper. Like, there's a lot of stats out there that tell, you know, the statistics of the game, but there are also tools out there as to, like, well, why do those statistics matter in terms of who the athlete is and who they're opposing and how they use their skill set. So it's just getting folks more into the X's and O's in it of the game through technology that's coming into play.
So Monumental Sports Network, I know you guys are on 24 hours a day, and though it seems like there's almost 24 hours of sporting, there's not. So what are you doing to fill up that time when there's no sports going on right then and there?
Excellent question. There are two things that we want to make sure that we are doing for our fans. The first is to bring our fans closer to our teams and our athletes. But I think secondarily, which we touched on, is being a steward of the community and all the athletics that happen within the DMV area. So obviously we have our games, our professional sports, which is the crown jewel of our network. But beyond that, there's incredible athletics that are happening throughout the DMV. We have an incredible, we have a really wonderful relationship with many HBCUs that are within our DMV. So we air their football, and basketball games. We have other colleges in Maryland that we have a relationship with. So we had over 500 live athletics on our air from, obviously, primarily from our own teams, but all the other hours were filled by local athletics and the athletes here in town. But I think beyond that, we also want to make sure that when someone turns our network on, that they are if someone's coming to our network, it's because they're a fan, and we want to make sure that that fandom is being served. So we have created a lot of original content that, again, serves the marketplace as well as our team. So we have a wonderful show with Rachel Nichols called Hometown, and that's where she goes and interviews various athletes, not only our own, but other athletes in the area.
And there's such an excitement with the WNBA and women's basketball right now. It's so exciting to see that so many people are watching. I know the numbers are up. What are you guys seeing at Monumental? Because I'm sure, especially with the Mystics and a lot of the other, women's teams, yes, like they're getting a lot more attention. So what are you seeing there?
I couldn't be more thrilled about this. So we were the first network to do a pre and post show for every Mystics WNBA game, home and away. And we're really proud of that. And that many other teams have started that trend, but we were the very first to do it. And we felt really strongly, like, if we're doing pre and post for our men's athletics, we should give the same attention to the female athletes as well. So it's been terrific, and it's continued to grow. Our pre and post numbers, rating numbers have continued to grow year over year. We have a very passionate fan base. And what's great is they have a place that our fan base knows where to come and they can find the games, which has been a struggle for a lot of female sporting events, is that the rights are very disaggregated in a lot of different platforms. But we are very fortunate that we have the majority of all of the Mystics games on our network.
That is fantastic. You guys have been such pioneers in the industry as well as in the community. And I can't thank you enough for joining us. We can't wait to see what's on the horizon next for Monumental Sports Network.
Thank you, Sam. It's been great. I appreciate it
so much, Friday. Next up, I had the great opportunity to chat with Leonsis, who's the president of Media and New Enterprises. Zach talks about the integration of technology at the studio and arena, ensuring seamless production and experience for fans. He also reflects on the organization's growth over the past few years and expresses optimism for the future of Monumental. Without further ado, here's Zach Leonsis. Thank you so much for joining me, Zach. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you all coming down to Washington, D.C. here at our Monumental Sports Network studios.
It's beautiful here, so thank you for having us.
Of course.
Yeah, so let's dive right in. So tell me a little bit about Monumental Sports and Entertainment. What is it comprised of?
Yeah, we're a unique organization in the world of sports and entertainment. We feature multiple franchises in the NHL's Washington Capitals, the NBA's Washington Wizards, the WNBA's Washington Mystics. We've got some esports properties, some minor league affiliations. We are a growing sports organization. We're also in the venues business. We own and operate Capital One Arena as well as several other venues, including the Entertainment Sports Arena or Care First Arena, MedStar Health Performance Center, MedStar Capitals Iceplex, as well as Eagle Bank Arena on the campus of George Mason University. We've got a variety of additional venture capital investments in the sports betting space, in the streaming space, in the collectible space. We recently invested in a company like Collect, which is led by Darren Ravel. We invested in a company called The Nine, led by Howard Megdal, that's focused on women's athletics and the like. And then we also own our own network. And we're here today in our Monumental Sports Network studios. So we think about ourselves as being a fully integrated sports platform, a full vertically integrated approach to our teams, to fandom. We want to be accessible to all of our fans throughout the DMV. One of, I think, our strategic advantages is our location here in Washington, D.C., in the greater Washington area. It's the most powerful city in the world. It's a growing community. It's a young community. We've got upwards of 10 million people throughout our marketing territory. And so we're really proud to serve them, whether it be in person with 20,000 people at Capital One Arena for one of our Capitals or Wizards home games, or whether we're broadcasting our games on television, online, or through other mediums. It's really our pleasure to meet our fans where they want to meet us.
Absolutely. And this build out is just tremendous. It really makes, the fans feel like they're part of the broadcast, and it's really giving them a really amazing experience as they're watching it. Tell us a little bit about the impetus of building the studio and having this here in the nation's capital.
Well, there's obviously been a lot of change happening in local media. And I think that fundamentally we view the value of our local rights as distinct and as very valuable, differently than sort of the decline of the traditional linear system, which has been under a lot of pressure lately. Cord cutting, cord shaving, you read a lot about that. But our network and our teams are incredibly strategic and important to our company and also our everyday fan experience. After all, half of our games are on the road. And while we might be able to fit 20,000 people in our venue at any given time, we might have hundreds of thousands of people tuning into our live broadcasts of our games. And so when we acquired our network from Comcast and NBC Universal, we knew what we were walking into, and we had earmarked the ability to make a big investment back into the value of our local rights. And so we're in a major league city, a major league market. We have major league teams. And we wanted to treat the local live rights as such. And so we really aspired to build a major league presence and a national presence. We wanted to act locally, but think nationally. And I think that when, our on-air talent interact in the studio, when fans watch our television at home, they feel like our network has a national look and feel. We've done some great content partnerships and hired some on-air talent, including with folks like Rachel Nichols and Sports Business Journal and Chris Saliza, some really recognizable national presence brands and individuals to pair alongside some of the great local talent that we feature today already on our network, our on-air announcing team for both the Capitals and the Wizards, our studio talent, folks like Alexa Landestoy or Alan May or Wes Hall, We really now have a deep lineup of talent that I think present the network in a really strong and polished way for our fans. And so we've taken the ownership perspective of our network very seriously. We've upgraded the video quality of our programming. We have plans to upgrade it even further in the future. We augment our content and programming strategy by filling our 24-hour linear air with a lot of rich programming that's dedicated to our teams. We want any fan who's tuning into our network to understand that they have permission to be a fan. Prior to us buying the network was running infomercials during the day, and we said that's not true to who we are. We're a sports network, and we're going to act like it. And so we have had a great time operating this business. It's been great to deliver not only a great product for our fans, but also stability, where some other teams have had, they've had to move partners and redirect their fans to watching through different channels. We've had great stability for our fans in terms of where they can find our programming. And then we've also found more ways to make our rights even more accessible by going direct to consumer. And we hope to forge additional content partnerships with sort of linear players and, unlike them, digital players in the future too. I think that we've really thought about ourselves as being platform agnostic. That's what we've really tried to build here at Monumental.
That's fantastic. And yes, you have so much on your platform, and it's never dead, right? You're not showing those infomercials and so forth. So, and I know you've worked with a lot of various partners, some of you've mentioned. I know you also have a partnership with Diversified. Can you speak a little bit about that?
So Diversified was a third-party integrator that we hired when we didn't have any of this at all. We actually started to talk with Diversified even prior to us closing on our acquisition of the network, because we had zero network production plant infrastructure whatsoever. And so we were starting from scratch. There's a blessing and a curse to that. The blessing is when you start from scratch and a blank canvas, you get to build for the future. You get to build exactly to your spec and what we think will be best for our teams and our fans. You also get the latest equipment, the highest tech gear. You get to future-proof the operation. The curse, of course, is it's quite expensive when you're building from scratch. But again, we knew what we were walking into. We had earmarked that capital to make this investment. And so, Diversified was a great partner vendor in that, they helped us design the entire production plant and studio experience. They helped us obviously procure all the equipment. It was a huge challenge. We were coming out of COVID. There were a bunch of supply chain issues. Actually, frankly, the war in Ukraine even had supply chain overhang for some of the chips that needed to be manufactured in some of our production equipment. While at the same time, we had a clock over our head. We had to get off of Comcast systems and stand up our own solutions within a finite period of time. And so there were periods of time where we were probably designing and building the plane while flying it. But I think the team really responded very well. Our on-air quality quickly improved. And now we've been fully operationalized in this space and in this production plant for, going on 2 years now.
Wow.
The team is happy. We've set ourselves up very well, I think, for the future. And I think it's translated to a really strong on-air product too.
Absolutely. And yeah, I definitely would like to talk a little bit about that on-air programming and some of the experiences and feedback that maybe you're getting from your viewers. I know I've seen that your viewership on your streaming, especially like with the women's, like WNBA and things of that nature, that's going up. So what are those type of experiences you guys are seeing now that you have such a breadth of, sports and everything else that encompasses Monumental Sports Entertainment?
Well, the WNBA and the Mystics are a perfect place to start. We were the first regional sports network to produce and broadcast every single one of our WNBA games, both home games and away games. And we were also the first RSN to produce pre- and post-game programming for those teams. When we acquired the network, we asked ourselves, why wouldn't we do that for one of our own teams? The Mystics are incredibly important. The WNBA has seen incredible trajectory in terms of fandom and really capturing sort of the cultural zeitgeist. The WNBA raised capital at the league level. They've grown out their offices and their capability. I think they were able to catch lightning in a bottle with a very popular rookie class, but that really has led to more and more to come. I think the talent coming to the WNBA in the future is only getting better. We've got 2 all-star rookies on our team this year. And so viewership, I think, has caught on to what we've been building for the last 3 to 4 years. And so you're right, we are setting record viewership numbers for the Mystics year over year, which is really exciting. It feels really, really rewarding because we took a P&L financial risk to produce these pre and post game shows in all of our games because we just felt like it was simply the right thing to do. And now we're truly being rewarded for it. I think when we think about our larger programming strategy, sure, we get ratings points. We understand how many people are watching our linear air. But now we really have to be cognizant of the fact that we're not just feeding a 24/7 linear beast of a feed. We're also trying to build our own direct-to-consumer audience. And a D2C audience is watching programming on demand. And while live games are a driver for subscriber acquisition, you need to be constantly feeding the D2C beast with additional programming to engage with your subscribers, to combat churn, to encourage people to stay with your product through a 12-month calendar year as opposed to just through the season cycle that they want to watch their team for. And so we view, the production of original programming as being far more strategic than just filler for our on-air experience. It's also a great opportunity for us to, frankly, drive additional ad sales. And we've integrated our ad sales team with our network along within our sponsorship sales team for the teams. And that integration between the two has been incredibly productive. We've seen a lot of great upside on both sides of the ledger from sponsorships and ad sales because of the integration. And I think it probably has to do with the fact that we can now approach clients with a full suite solution, and those original programs can be highly appealing. So we've gotten several of them sponsored. It's really helped us create and manage and maintain a really robust programming lineup with hopefully more shows to come.
And speaking of more shows to come, and it seems like you guys are, you're doing so much. What is on the horizon next for you? What are you looking forward to doing and expanding this monumental platform, if you will?
Well, the experience that we went through in essentially building a network from scratch while operating the one that we had just acquired, it was a significant endeavor. It encapsulated workflows across engineering, production services, actual physical construction, building a new brand, building a brand new digital streaming platform, building a programming and content strategy, building a playout and master control solution and whatnot for our network. It really covered every single base. And so, we've recently announced that we're partnering with ViewLift, a digital development provider, to approach different teams and offer our own services to be a one-stop shop solution for their local media distribution. I think that there are a lot of teams that are wondering if they should be empowering themselves and taking their own rights to distributors or direct to consumer or over the air or a combination of 2 or 3 of the above. And we want to provide some of our learnings and our experience in standing up our own solutions and see if we can potentially even be a service provider to help provide those solutions. So we want to continue to be an exemplar in the local field. And I think increasingly we would love to be relevant and helpful on a national level as well. I think there's a lot of cool opportunities to come.
That is so fantastic. Can't wait to see what all that looks like. And in addition to that, you're also doing a lot in the DMV area, philanthropically speaking. Can you touch a little bit about what Monumental Sports Entertainment Group, like what you guys are doing in the community to give back?
I appreciate that. This is our home. And I think one of the most special things about working in sports entertainment is that our team brands are really unlike any other sort of consumer product good out there. Our fans intertwine their identities with our team brands, right? People wake up and they go, I'm a Caps fan. I wouldn't be caught dead in black and yellow or black and orange or anything like that, right? And so that comes with a great responsibility too. We have business goals of creating value for shareholders, and we have championship and on the field and on the court goals. We're trying to compete for championships. But our third goal, maybe it should be our first, is also to leave a lasting legacy and to be good stewards of the franchise and to leave more than we take and to be good neighbors. And so, with that, we take our philanthropic giving very, very seriously. Last year, we donated over $15 million to a variety of nonprofits between the company and our family. And this year, we reached 20 million.
Wow.
And so I just joined the board of DC Central Kitchen as an example. I lead a monthly volunteer event with some of our staff here. I think people feel really good about the way that we interact with our community. I think our fans really appreciate it. They want to see our players giving back. They want to see the organization paying it forward. They give us a lot. We need to return the favor and then some. We want to make sure they're feeling good about their investment of time and money and that we're returning more than they invest. And so we're very proud of the work that we do in our community. We're not tourists. We're here to stay. And so I think that really matters. We want to see the change in our community too. And as much as we can, we love to be able to leverage our infrastructure for good too. I think about the unfortunate aviation accident that happened at Reagan National Airport earlier this year. And we quickly rallied around and said, let's donate our building and organize, an ice skating spectacular. And we will raise money for families of the victims. We raised over $1 million.
Wow.
And we broadcasted the entire program on our network. And we also shared that broadcast with NBC, the mothership. And so that was really an awesome experience for us in terms of mobilizing our infrastructure to do good, to do the right thing. And we'd like to continue to do that in the future as well.
Absolutely. That's such a fantastic story, and just great to hear all the things that you guys are doing and how you really are a staple in the community and also pioneers in the industry. Just looking over and looking back from where you came from and starting all of this up, what gives you the most pride? What do you look back fondly at and you're really proud of with this group?
I think back to, frankly, the pandemic. And I think back to, there probably wasn't another industry that was more negatively impacted than live events, right? We're in the business of gathering tens of thousands of people in person, inside in our case, and encouraging you to yell and scream and cheer as loud as you can without a mask on, right? And so we had to shut our fans out of our building for over a year. Our revenues were cut in half. We had significant losses as an organization. We were playing a full season for our media partners, and frankly, to provide fans and society with a sense of normalcy that they could tune in and watch live sports. I think about where we were from there and how much we've rebounded and grown and viewed some of these challenges as opportunities. Frankly, buying our network was one of those moments where we turned a challenge into an opportunity. And so when I look back at that horizon over these last 5 years, I am incredibly proud of what we've built. And hopefully the next 5 years maybe don't present as big a challenges as that.
Hopefully
but
not again.
are equally, as fruitful.
So Zach, this studio is so impressive. Can you tell me a little bit about the technology that you have here that will help future-proof it, because technology is constantly changing. So if you could touch on that, that would be wonderful.
Sure. When we decided to sit down and spec out what our production plant and studio could look like, we had a fundamental decision to make if we wanted to use sort of the existing television infrastructure, this baseband SDI, that's infrastructure that's been tried and proven, or we could immediately jump to an IP-based future and develop a 2110 solution. And it was more expensive, but we felt like it set us up better for the future. And it also provided us with a lot of operational leverage. It provided us with the opportunity to scale our approach with additional control rooms, additional studios. It enabled us to be a resolution independent facility. So we were originally filming in 1080i. We upgraded to 1080p. The cameras in this studio can shoot up to 8K quality. When our distributors are ready for 4K and 8K, we'll be really excited to deliver that, because I think it'll just make our live rights even that much more valuable and the video experience that much better for fans. And so we leverage a lot of remote cloud production here in this facility, and it sets us up well for the future. So we were willing to make the additional investment to sort of future-proof the organization. And what we didn't intend at the time, but ultimately unintentionally did happen, is now we're in the middle of a $800+ million renovation of our arena. And this technology standard sort of set a bar and a blueprint for where we want to raise the arena's game as well. And so this building is obviously attached to Capital One Arena. We're expanding our footprint from 900,000 square feet to 1.6 million square feet. Wow. And all of the technology infrastructure is going to be fully integrated and connected in a full 360 enterprise solution sort of way. And so technically you could be producing an in-arena game experience from one of our control rooms here, and vice versa. If there was a disaster in one of the central equipment rooms, which hosts all of our servers and all of our compute that powers so many of the front-facing pieces of infrastructure that we hear for technicians, another CER could boot up and take over for the disaster recovery for another. And so it was unintentional. We didn't know we'd be renovating and transforming our arena when we were building this solution out. But ultimately, it was a great initial crash course.
Wow.
That really helped us refine exactly what our wants and needs are, and frankly, what is a much bigger project next door. So it's been great.
Well, we can't wait to see what that expansion project looks like you guys have been doing such wonderful things with Sports Media Entertainment Group, and as well as what you're doing out in the community. I can't thank you enough for spending some time with me, Zach.
I appreciate you having me, and thanks again for coming to Washington and coming to check out our studios.
Absolutely. Thank you. And finally, we are joined by Charlie Myers, who is the Chief Technology Officer at Monumental. Charlie discusses the development of their studio and the integration of new tech in this space. He also mentions how Monumental enhances fan engagement by providing interactive experiences, such as the Monumental Plus app. So here's my chat with Charlie. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Charlie. How's it going?
It's going well. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we are here in this fabulous, fabulous studio. I know you had a lot to do with it. So tell me a little bit about the space that we're currently in.
Yeah, you're in, basically, it's a joint studio space. We have two studios that are separated by a dividing wall. It's soundproof. It enables us to shoot two shows at the same time. So if you think about if we have a Wizards and a Capitals game the same night, one's home, one's away, we can shoot pre and post in the same space. Conversely, if we only have one, we can then do like a longer throw, use something like a jib that'll allow us to give a little bit more production quality to the show.
Fantastic. And you were a part of all the design from, what you were envisioning to implementation. Can you walk us through a little bit about, I know there's some fun stuff that happened here to get the studio up and running.
Yeah, so when we first started talking about, acquiring the regional sports network, and what we were looking to do, it really started off with what's the base architecture, the infrastructure that we wanted to build. And the first thing we decided was we wanted to build an all IP plan. So we deployed what's called SMPTE 2110, and it gives us a great deal of flexibility that we can use commercial off-the-shelf IP switches and routers. And as over time, we can build out much quicker. We could support, it also made it resolutionless. And that, while today we're at 1080p, 60, high definition facility, we could easily do 4K with a switch of a few buttons, which is pretty neat. So it gives us that flexibility that over time, when we want to do something maybe a little more high end, we have that capability. Beyond that, we talked, and Zach sort of set the tone for this. He said, we want to have a national feel, to our studios, right, with a local presence. And we took that in mind as we were building out the multiple platforms, including the studio, in that, we wanted to make sure it had that professional feel. But there's also a lot of flexibility in what we wanted to use this space with, having multiple teams, having multiple partners. As you'll see, there's a lot of lighting in here. All this lighting can change colors depending on, right now it's a nice blue, right? Maybe we want red. Maybe there's a special event like we do, like Hockey Fights Cancer. We have the ability with a lot of flexibility to then change the background. So from that perspective, again, we wanted a lot of flexibility, wanted to be able over time that we could, change formats, build a platform, that would look at, quite frankly, as we start to move forward, anticipate and meet the growth of Monumental Sports.
Wonderful. Yeah. So it seems like you've got a lot of elements in here to help future-proof things, since we know technology is changing so rapidly.
Exactly.
And there's so much cool technology here. Can you highlight any standout features or technology in this?
Yeah, sure. All the cameras in the facility are RED cameras. They are 8K capable. So what we wanted was to have something that would be able to, as you said, future-proof, be able to do higher resolutions, but also give us a nice depth of field, give it a really professional look. I think when you look around this entire studio, there's about 1,200 square feet of LED. So obviously really wanted to be visually intensive and really give the anchors a lot of capabilities with like touchscreen capabilities to walk up, break down plays, even with a touch screen, give them, a little more flexibility than they had in some of their previous studios that they operated in. So I think those are some of the key elements for me. It was, again, how do we future-proof this and make it have that national feel, but on a local level.
Wonderful. And what would you say separates, Monumental Sports Network and your entertainment group from other regional sports networking groups? I feel like a lot of them have been struggling lately, but you guys seem to be on the cusp of what's new and are breaking the mold in that arena.
Yeah. When we bought the Regional Sports Network, we looked at this as we're the best folks to tell our story for our teams. And we would speak best to providing a product that would give our fans really an in-depth look into the teams, behind the scenes. So for us, it really was about fan engagement and doing a bit more and really owning the stories. So we felt that in its previous incarnation, that part was underserved. So you see a lot of original productions that we provide, a lot of shoulder content, news magazines into the Capitals, into the Wizards, into the Mystics, and a lot of behind the scenes, footage on how decisions are made. I think there's some great stuff, particularly around like draft night, that you'll see that if you're a fan, you want to see what happened in the room, you get to see that capability. So for us, we're providing it's a platform. And I think what differentiates us from others, we own the arena, we own the teams, we own the Regional Sports Network. We are curating experiences both in arena and at home for folks, right? So again, we're going to give you that sort of holistic fan experience. And I think that's a differentiator to us versus other RSNs.
Wonderful. And then, so we're seeing obviously the move more towards the IP-based, broadcasting versus traditional broadcast. Can you speak a little bit about that experience and how it's been beneficial for what you guys are looking to do?
Yeah, I think, when we made that decision, it just wasn't just about broadcast. It really was about, as Ted says, Monumental Sports as a platform. So for me, my visibility is across the entire enterprise. We saw this as sort of the linchpin for how we're going to build our entire tech stack. So when we picked IP, it really was about looking at future trends, which would include public cloud, right? We all look at, as you look at the number of services that are in the technology space that are moving into cloud, broadcast and broadcast production are included in that space. So we wanted to be prepared by moving over to IP to help facilitate a path that if we're not fully cloud, at least we could flex into cloud when we need to, when we go beyond like this within the capabilities of this facility, that gave us that capability. So it was really intentful that IP to us allowed us to be ready for that transformation and build out a roadmap. So we will continue to best serve our fans and give them the best fan experience.
Wonderful. You are always forward thinking, it seems like, at Monumental Sports Network and your entertainment group. What has been some of the feedback that you're getting from these fans? And are they really appreciating and understanding all that you're doing to help connect them to, what we have here, maybe in, this facility, as well as what you're broadcasting all over?
Yeah, I think mostly what I hear, we've got improved picture quality, which I think is really important with being 1080p 60, which is a progressive scan format, and it's a higher temporal resolution frame rate. It's more realistic, natural and realistic. I've heard a lot of good things about that. That's a big improvement. I think the other is with our direct-to-consumer app, we're able to provide multiple camera angles, which is great because you get to pick your experience. How do you want to view the game? How do you want to experience the game? So I think from that perspective, it's been very positive coming from fans.
I love that they get to have that interactivity and be able to control it themselves, so they really feel like they're a part of these broadcasts. I think that's wonderful what you guys are doing. And so, thinking ahead, where do you see yourself going? What's next on the horizon? You've done so much, but what can we look forward to next?
So right now we're in the middle of a transformation of Capital One Arena, where it's a 3-year project, and effectively we now extend this facility into the arena. We've built out a program control room, which is based on the same technology and design as the control rooms out of here. So that will give us a higher end experience for in-game entertainment. And on top of that, obviously there's, a plethora of new functions and capabilities within the arena. As we start to rebuild that out, we are building out a new Wi-Fi 7 platform from Cisco. We will be the first Wi-Fi 7 arena in the entire world. And that will give us, for fans, that means a lot more interactivity, capability. If you're taking, video or pictures of you and your friends while you're at a game, you want to load it up to Instagram, it'll be much quicker uploads and better response.
Well, this is so exciting. I'm in the area often, so I definitely can't wait to come back and check that out. So you've seen just the progress from, inception and what you were thinking of your vision to where we stand today. What would you say you've been most proud of during this whole journey to get to this point?
I'm most proud of our staff, how they've embraced change. It's been a lot of change. You can imagine a lot of folks from the RSN get acquired into a new company, brand new processes, brand new technology. Everybody's sort of leaned into it and has looked at how do we exploit those tools to provide a better fan experience, a better programming experience. So just watching everybody came together and made it happen. This was like the culmination of about a 20-month process where we brought on new people, we brought on all the RSN staff, and everyone came together as one team. So for me, that's where I looked back and was like the most proud of everything that we did.
So Charlie, can you tell me a little bit more about that Monumental Plus app and where audience can engage a little bit more with your format and your platform?
Sure. Monumental Plus is our new direct-to-consumer TV everywhere streaming app for the RSN, and you can basically dig into media as deep as you want. Live games, full live game coverage. We have alternate camera views with a lot of statistics views. So depending on how you want to view the game through different alternate camera angles, the statistics, if you want to dig into statistics, we have all that available on the app. On top of that, we have a lot of video on demand as well. So you're able to look at all the different platforms that we have here, Mystics, Capitals, Wizards, DC Go-Go. All of those teams are all covered on it, including a lot of magazine shows about, behind the scenes, and even on top of the digital shorts around maybe your favorite players. So it really gives you, it is really your sort of fan central opportunity to dig deep into the teams, your players, and events that happen here at Capital One Arena.
That's fantastic. So you're never without, sports and getting in touch or seeing your favorite players in sports of that nature. It's always there with you. I love that.
Exactly.
Fantastic. So I know you've worked with many, many partners to put all this together. Can you just speak a little bit about, I know Diversified was one of those partners that you worked with. Can you speak a little bit about that relationship?
Yeah, Diversified is a technology company that also focuses not only in the sports business, but really particularly within broadcast. And we brought Diversified on first in a consulting role to talk about, what is the scope of the project, how he'll put around costing, but then they were also selected to do integration, build out, and turn over the entire facility. So they were a key partner for us. They helped put, basically the entire program together and worked arm in arm with us to deploy it and then turn it over.
Wonderful. And did they have any play in the types of AV technology that was going to be in the studio, or can you speak to a little bit about what that technology is that our, the audiences are seeing, what's behind the scenes?
Yeah, you'll see there's a lot of what you would consider traditional LED, AV technology behind us. That gives us a lot of flexibility in how do we change the background, the feel of the set. It also enables, if you're a presenter, to be able to be a lot more flexible in what's being displayed, walking through plays and things of that nature. So we make heavy use of that within the entire space. And Diversified played a key part in that, in helping us, select a studio and a set design vendor that worked alongside with them. So they really went with the physical, with electronics, kind of helped tie the whole entire thing together.
That's great. And yes, there's just so much great technology here. I love those touchable screens or so. So if it was working, I tried to show you some Exynos because I have a little bit of knowledge of that. I know I don't. No, but this is so amazing. You guys have done a great job, and I really appreciate you taking the time to have us here.
Great. Thank you. It's great talking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me on this special episode of AV Unplugged. It was an incredible opportunity to visit Monumental to get a behind-the-scenes look at their latest broadcast AV technology. So a huge thank you to them. And be sure to tune in next time to AV Unplugged, where we're going to continue to bring you stories from the audiovisual industry and beyond. So, see you next time.